Operating procedure for aluminum thermal welding for rails. Preparation.
Preparation of welding materials. Aluminum thermite welding flux. Welding sand molds. One-time crucible. High temperature matches. Molding sand. Preparation of working tools. The special tools, molds, and machines for thermite welding are as follows. Oxygen pressure regulator, oxygen flow meter, oxygen hose. Propane pressure regulator. Preheater stand. Sand mold holder. Mold clamp. Crucible support. Crucible cover. Slag bucket. Slag remover bar. Rail aligner. Rail alignment ruler. Stopwatch. Wrenches, crowbars, hand hammers, sledgehammers, wire brushes, wedges, and fire extinguisher. Rail cutting machine. Routing machine. Grinder. Rail preparation, alignment, and leveling. The rail head to be welded must be free of damage and distortion. Remove rust and burrs from the rail ends. The distance from the welding end to the bolt hole shall be no less than 50 millimeters. Adjust and check the longitudinal straightness of the track. Use alignment straight edges, rulers, and wedges to adjust the rail alignment error within 0.5 millimeters. The specified rail gap is 26 plus or minus 2 millimeters. Reserve a camber height of 1.5 to 2.5 millimeters at the joint. Then fix the rails. Mold installation and sealing. Check that the sand molds match the rail type, are free of damage or moisture, and remove loose sand. Place the two sand molds facing each other over the reserved rail gap. Put the sand mold holder behind the sand molds and clamp the holder. Use a bow clamp opposite the slag hole to align and fix the sand molds. Place the sprue plug at the pouring gate for trial fitting and trimming. Place the sand mold bottom plate on the bottom frame. Then attach it to the sand mold base and the sand mold frame hooks. Turn the handle of the sand mold frame to tighten the bottom plate against the sand mold base. Fill and seal the sealing grooves around the sand molds with molding sand. Place the crucible support at the center on top of the sand molds and seal gaps with molding sand. Install the slag bucket. Apply molding sand along the side next to the sand mold slag hole. Put an appropriate amount of dry sand into the slag bucket. Welding flux preparation. Check the crucible and flux package for damage or moisture. Place the crucible in a dry area. Open the flux package and pour the flux into the crucible, making it smooth and slightly conical. Insert 2 high-temperature matches into the center of the flux surface, leaving about 10 millimeters of the fuse exposed. Cover the crucible lid. Installing oxygen regulator, flow meter, propane regulator, and preheater. Oxygen flow meter installation. Install the oxygen pressure regulator, then connect it to the oxygen connector on the preheater. Hang the flow meter vertically with the scale facing outward. Open the flow meter control valve. Install the propane regulator on the propane cylinder counterclockwise. Connect the propane hose to the propane connector on the preheater and secure all joints. Assemble the preheater nozzle, and preheater stand, then tighten firmly. Adjust the distance between the preheater nozzle base and the rail surface to 50 millimeters. Adjust the verticality of the preheater nozzle. Open the preheater oxygen valve and adjust the oxygen flow until the top of the flow meter float reaches 3,500 liters per hour. Until the top of the flow meter float reaches 3,500 L-HOC. Preheat. Open the 2 valves on the preheater to vent gas from the hoses. Then set the propane and oxygen regulator gauges to 0. Close both preheating gas valves, then open the oxygen and propane cylinder valves. Use the regulators to adjust the pressure. Oxygen pressure 0.4 megapascals. Propane pressure 0.07 megapascals. Slightly open the preheater propane valve and ignite the preheater. Slowly open the oxygen valve, then gradually increase both propane and oxygen flow. Fully open the oxygen valve until the flow meter shows 350 liters per hour. Adjust the propane valve to get a 20 millimeters long blue flame core. Quickly position the preheater with adjusted flame in the center of the sand mold. Start the stopwatch. Observe and adjust the flame to aim vertically at the weld center through the sprue. Check the flame height from the 2 risers of the sand mold, normally 400 to 500 millimeters. If the flame is insufficient, check gas supply and preheater passages. Preheating can only start when standards are met. Preheating time varies by rail type. Heat the sprue plug near the sand mold edge, but do not hold it directly in the flame. Continuously monitor the heating process. Adjust the preheater if misaligned to avoid uneven heating. If flashover occurs at the crucible sand seal, add molding sand immediately to prevent molten steel leakages. Pouring. Start a 10-second countdown 10 seconds before the specified preheating time ends. Remove the preheater from the sand mold, but do not extinguish the flame. Quickly insert the sprue plug. Place the crucible with flux steadily on the crucible support. Ignite the high temperature matches with the preheater flame, then close the crucible cover. Turn off the preheater flame, hold a leakage prevention rod, and stand by to seal any leaks. Restart timing once the high temperature matches ignite. After about 30 seconds of reaction, molten steel flows through the self-melting plug into the sand mold cavity. Excess slag flows into the slag bucket through the slag hole. Mold removal and routing. After pouring, remove the crucible and slag bucket. Remove excess molding sand protruding from both sides of the sand mold on top of the rail. Remove the sand mold clamps after 3 minutes. Adjust the routing machine limit scale to keep a 1 mm gap between the two cutting edges. Retract the cylinder to fully open the gap between the edges. Place the routing machine over the weld head. Adjust the fixing hooks and tighten the locking screw. Start routing when the weld head cools to a suitable temperature. Operate the oil pump lever and distributor handle to drive the routing machine. When the limit scale is reached, reverse the handle to retract the cutter, then remove the routing machine. Use a sledgehammer to gently knock off excess weld beads, remaining sand molds, and riser rods. Leave a 1 to 3 mm allowance on the weld head for finish grinding. Adjust routing time based on rail size and ambient temperature. Keep sufficient grinding stock. Do not route too low to cause low joints. Grinding. Start grinding when weld head temperature drops to approximately 300 degrees Celsius. Use special rail profile grinder to remove weld beads on rail top and rail head sides. Ground top to 0 plus 0.5 millimeters. Rail head sides to plus or minus 0.5 millimeters of original rail. Smooth transition arcs to match original rail contour.